Hi. My name is Lisa Smith. I am your friendly neighborhood hypnotist. I'm a professional, certified consulting hypnotist with the National Guild of Hypnotists. Today I'm going to spend a little bit of time explaining the fundamentals of hypnosis. I do have bullet points and a bit of a script that I wrote, so they are my own words to keep me on track. Just wanted to let you know that so that if you see me looking, you'll know everything's cool. All right, here we go. Research has shown that if we take the time to explain a little bit about hypnosis to you, our clients, and our future clients, you're going to benefit much greater from your hypnotic sessions. And that's exactly what we want, right? We want great benefit from those hypnotic sessions, this time we spend together. I'm going to explain some terms about hypnosis in the mind and also hopefully remove some misconceptions about hypnosis and that perhaps Hollywood, movies, TV, and the internet might have given you about hypnosis. Make sure you have a pen or pencil and a piece of paper or your smartphone for taking notes. If needed, pause the video and grab them before we start. If you have any questions about the material I cover, write them down, put them in your phone, whatever. We'll talk. We'll go over them when we get together virtually or in person. If you haven't scheduled your first meeting with me, you can send me a message and I'll do my best to get your question answered. I want to start by introducing you to the components of the mind, the basic components of the mind. The unconscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the conscious mind. Each of these areas of the mind has certain characteristics that are different, and they all work together to keep you going. Each level of the mind also has a protective function, like a security system of sorts, without the monthly maintenance bill. Throughout your daily life, even when you're in the deepest levels of hypnosis or sleep, like two separate things, hypnosis or sleep, you're always safe because your conscious, your subconscious, and your unconscious mind are always working nonstop to make sure you are as safe as possible. Let's start with the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is your body's automatic control center, so to speak. It works without any thought or direction from you. This is the part that controls the heartbeat, blood pressure, sweating, digesting, breathing, all the automatic body functions. It keeps you alive. This is awesome since it does this all on its own. You don't have to think about it. Can you imagine how much brain power it would take to keep reminding your heart to beat even when you're sleeping? Not to mention breathing, digesting food, and more. Well, the unconscious mind is also where feelings come from, not emotions. That's another part of the mind. We'll get to that soon enough. I'm talking about the chemical, physiological, sensory responses created by emotions. You know, the increased heart rate, flushing face, shaking hands, sweating, nervous sweating, the kind of feelings, the physical stuff that we can't intentionally control. The unconscious mind also has the power to bring things to your attention. It's called the reticular activating system. It's on guard 24/7. For example, do you ever go out and buy like a brand new car? Like how often do we do that? Brand new to us maybe. And it's white. All your life you've had blue, gray, or silver cars. And all of a sudden you buy a white car and you start driving. And a few days later you realize, oh, there are a lot of white cars here. I had no idea. Well, that's because your reticular activating system noticed that you found white cars to be important because you bought one. And it said, hey, you think that's important? Let me show you some more. White cars are important. Let me show you more things that are important. I didn't make this stuff up. We came this way. The unconscious mind's ability to change and learn is limited. It can change, it can learn, but in your daily, ordinary kind of activities, it isn't very good at it. So going to school, reading a book, or listening to a single podcast isn't going to make a vast difference in the unconscious mind and how it keeps things running. Could be a good thing. You got to keep that things running without thinking. To make a significant change in this unconscious mind, It takes a little more effort. Do you remember Dr. Pavlov and the drooling dogs? Okay, you might have learned about them in school. And the bell, remember that? He showed that when we pair a stimulus with some other occurrence, the unconscious mind can actually learn. He showed that when he created the stimulus, which is the bell, then provided a dog with a morsel of food, the dog would salivate. It would drool. That's another thing we can't intentionally control, is salivation or drooling. After he paired it a number of times, just hearing the bell ring would cause the dog to drool. We could make some jokes right now, but we won't. This shows that the unconscious mind actually can learn because salivation, drooling, is not under the control of the conscious mind. It's under the control of the unconscious mind, the part of our mind that keeps our body running day after day. The unconscious mind can learn through that kind of classical conditioning, like the bell and the food, or through self-hypnosis and hypnosis. It isn't instant, but it can be done. Okay, remember how I said the mind had a security system to keep you safe? The unconscious mind has the immune system to protect you from infections, and it has reflexes built in to help protect you from physical stuff, like an unexpected object flying at your head. If that were to happen, your reflexes kick in, and you might throw up your arm or your hand to block it, or maybe you'd catch it. Who knows? That's a little bit about the unconscious mind. Now let's check out the subconscious mind. I always got them confused when I was in school. That's why I'm emphasizing, just in case you're like me and you need a little extra help with this sub and the un and the conscious. The subconscious mind is who you really are. It's all of your habits, your patterns, your behaviors, your values, and your beliefs. It's where the precious pieces are stored that makes you, you. The subconscious mind starts out empty. Babies are like a blank book. Psychologists call the subconscious mind at this point tabula rasa, which means blank slate. It fits. Then, as you go through life and you have experiences, you develop perceptions about what's going on around you. Babies and little kids are like walking recorders. They're taking everything in at every waking moment. We start to build up a database. That blank slate fills up. This is where your long-term memory is stored. These experiences and perceptions come together, they coagulate, they gel, they form into beliefs, patterns, and habits. Once those have occurred, they resist change. You develop a certain consistent way of behaving and your personality is formed. Once that happens, you resist change, whether you mean to or not. That's good news and not so good news. The good news is you'll basically behave consistently, basically on average. You'll have a particular personality. You will basically be the same person day in and day out. Who you are, who you really are, lives in your subconscious mind. Can you imagine life without consistency? Without this particular consistency? Your values and behaviors would be erratic and changing all the time. I can only imagine that would be exhausting. The bad news is, or the not so good news, is that when you do want to make changes, like as an adult, it's very difficult to make deep, lasting changes unless self-hypnosis and hypnosis are used. Hypnosis and self-hypnosis can have an immediate, lasting, long-term effect on the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is also the area that generates emotions. Remember that the unconscious mind generates the physiological feelings that come from the emotions. Emotions come from your thoughts about what happens in your world and the meaning you assign these things that happen. You respond to the things in the world in an emotional way. We all do. For example, if you feel you have been treated unfairly, the subconscious mind will begin to generate the feeling of anger. The unconscious mind will do its thing and add the physiological changes to that anger, like getting hot, flushed, increasing your heart rate, maybe getting sweaty, shaky, and then you experience the emotion and the feeling of mad or angry. One of the interesting things about the subconscious mind is the subconscious mind seems to be unlimited in its capacity. Unlimited. limited. So cool. No one has ever filled it up. And unless there is physical trauma to or disease of or in the brain, you can always learn something new. That's so cool. I love this stuff. The information in that database of your subconscious mind, see, told you, it's always accessible, barring any physical trauma or disease of or in the brain. Even people who are in their oldest years can tell you something about their childhood. Ask them. The subconscious mind also has a security system. The subconscious mind also helps protect you against known dangers. That's what emotions do. If something isn't known danger, your subconscious mind will generate the emotion of fear, which motivates you to keep yourself safe. I'm going to skip around here just for a moment to the conscious mind. There's an old saying, I think, therefore I am. Why? The truth is that who we are is in the subconscious mind. That's where all those precious pieces are that create you and your personality, your beliefs, your values, and your habits. The part of us that thinks on a day-to-day basis is our conscious mind. It knows only now. It is the focus of consciousness. The conscious mind is rational, logical, and analytical. It's influenced by who we are and what we believe. Our critical thinking abilities live here. The conscious mind is where our point of focus is, and that influences our decision making. Right now, you're consciously focusing on this video, or you've got it playing in the background and you're kind of halfway listening to it and you're hoping you might catch a few things, but we're going to pretend like you're focusing on this video. Okay? But if we were together, we could talk about the past. Your mind could then focus on the past and then refocus on something. So it's in the now. Right now, you can handle present or the past. And in the past, we could talk about things in the future, like how you might use hypnosis to change your life in the future, and you'll start thinking about the future. I want you to think about the conscious mind as primarily what you're focusing on right now, in this moment in time. It's analytical, it's logical, it's your problem-solving mechanism. It's your ability to assess a situation and to use your experience to come up with an answer. For example, if you're working out a mathematical problem, you're using the conscious mind. The conscious mind also has a protective function. It's constantly protecting you against perceived danger. That's based upon what is rational and analytical. This is also where willpower is stored. The conscious mind is limited. The subconscious mind is unlimited. But we know from scientific and psychological research that the conscious mind only can hold about 7 to 9 bits of information at any time. This is important. You need to remember this because it's limited. Your conscious mind, your now, your thought process, your critical thinking can only hold 7 to 9 bits of information. For example, if you're going to the grocery store, I highly recommend, because of what I know about the conscious mind, that you take a written list. Because if you're going to go get milk, juice, toast, and tricks, and then someone says, oh, hey, can you also get a bag of bacon bits and some dog food and a candy bar, you're reaching the limit of what you can remember. And you're going to get home and you're going to forget the dog food and the bacon bits, and you're going to go home with a candy bar and your milk, juice, toast, and tricks. It just works that way, doesn't it? Totally. And this is also why trying to consciously make important and substantial lasting changes in your life usually fails, or it takes a really, really super duper long time and a lot of effort, because if you use your conscious mind, you're really using a lot of energy. It's like trying to run uphill with a backpack on. I don't know. I just came up with that. It takes a lot of brain power. The conscious mind can only hold 7 to 9 bits of information. So changing habits and beliefs takes much more brain power. What about willpower, you might say? Yeah, I said it too. Willpower is in the conscious mind. And as we just learned, the conscious mind is limited. Therefore, So is willpower. Hypnosis allows you to go in and work with this greater database in your subconscious mind of who you are. Then it can have an effect on your habits, your beliefs, especially those limiting beliefs that have held you back from making changes and doing things in your lifetime. Seriously. Okay? So that's basically how the hypnotist thinks about the conscious, which is limited, subconscious, which is unlimited, and the unconscious, autonomic mind. You're doing great so far. Hang in there. We're coming around here. I know it's a long video, but this is really important information. I want you to understand that your mind is amazing. And when we work with hypnosis, we have so many opportunities to change things that matter to you. Awesome. Okay, ready? So that's basically how the hypnotist thinks about the conscious, the subconscious, and the unconscious mind. You might wonder why hypnosis is needed to get into and change the subconscious mind. Did you wonder that? It's a great question. All right. Between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind is a thing called the critical factor. The critical factor is a comparing mechanism. It's like a filter of sorts. It's another protective system that your mind has. As new information comes to you through your senses, it has to be acknowledged and processed by the conscious mind to get through this critical factor before it can go into your unconscious mind, become a belief, a pattern, or a habit, and really enter into that database of information in the subconscious mind, the part of you that makes you, you. The critical factor here in the middle is the reason why it is hard to change limiting beliefs and unwanted habits on your own. When that new information comes in, it comes in through your conscious mind and your sensations and everything like that, your senses, it goes through the critical factor, and that critical factor is comparing that new information with what's already in the subconscious mind. If this new information matches what's already in there, especially in the area of beliefs and habits, it instantly goes into the subconscious mind and reinforces what already exists. It bonds and builds up more of the same. Those beliefs, those habits, if they match the new information, they're reinforced, they're stronger, and they're more solid in your life. But if some new bits of information comes in and it doesn't match what's in there, it still goes into your unconscious mind, but it goes into the database of information, which is kind of like a different part. It's stuff you know about, but it doesn't really have an effect on your day-to-day life. So it doesn't really change anything about your beliefs and your habits because it doesn't groove with them. It doesn't flow with them. It doesn't vibe with them. It's like stuff that might help you if you're playing trivia at the bar. It's in there, but it's just not doing anything beneficial. Keep this critical factor in mind as I define some terms that I might use. First, the most important term is hypnosis. Fortunately, the U.S. government has given us a definition that is very useful. According to the U.S. government, hypnosis is the bypass of the critical factor and the establishment of acceptable selective thinking. Fancy. The establishment of acceptable selective thinking is just a fancy way of saying focused attention. An example of that would simply be that when information comes in, hypnosis allows us to bypass this comparing mechanism. Okay, so it just bypasses the filter, goes right around it. Well, it goes through it, but it doesn't get caught in the web. Right into the subconscious mind. And it immediately affects the limiting beliefs and/or our unwanted habits. We can make powerful changes that last right away with hypnosis. You could also say, by focusing attention, we bypass the comparing mechanisms in the mind. When a hypnotist works with you, when they first begin a session, they are going to be doing what we call a hypnotic induction. This just helps you to relax and focus your attention. Hypnosis is not relaxation. You're relaxed during hypnosis, but hypnosis isn't just relaxation. It's not a guided meditation, and it's not guided visualization. Hypnosis is different. Remember the establishment of acceptable selective thinking? That's the focused part, the focused attention part of the hypnotic induction. Another word that your hypnotist or I might use is the word sleep. Hypnosis is not sleep. If your hypnotist or I use the word sleep, I want you to think of it as shorthand or code or maybe even slang. Code for let yourself become so deeply relaxed, it's as if you were asleep with your eyes closed. I usually ask my clients to sit up in a comfortable chair or slightly reclined position so they don't accidentally go to sleep. If you do accidentally actually go to sleep, you're going to miss the whole thing. So stay awake. No matter how many times your hypnotist or I may say sleep, just remember that means eyes closed, deeply relaxed, as if you're asleep. One of the most important things I wanted to mention, and I really want you to understand, is that hypnosis is a normally occurring state in human beings. You heard me. Normal state. Happens all the time. Hypnosis has been going on for as long as there have been human beings as we know them. Normally occurring state of being. Most people have had the experience of driving a car or riding in a car. Highway hypnosis. It's when you're deep in thought about something other than driving, your eyes are open and you're wide awake, and all of a sudden you snap out of it and wonder if you missed your exit. You lost track of time and temporarily forgot what was going on around you. You were in hypnosis. Your unconscious mind is taking care of driving the car. If you've been driving a long time, it's a habit. You know how to do it. Your unconscious mind knows how to drive a car. You're going to go into a state of hypnosis while you're driving the car because of the focused attention. You have something on your mind that it just takes over. You're in deep thought, completely focused on that thought, not on the driving. By the way, I do not suggest this is a good and safe way of driving, but it happens, and so here we are. These are common experiences when you're driving. The highway hypnosis is a naturally occurring state of hypnosis. It's happened to me. It's happened to everyone I know. Another thing you might know of but didn't really know why it happened is that in a very deep levels of hypnosis, natural, normal occurring hypnosis, people can experience analgesia, which is the blockage of pain, or anesthesia, which is the complete loss of all sensations. What? I know, it's crazy, but I've had this experience and I'm pretty sure you have too. I was going to say I know you have too, but I don't know you. You're getting ready for bed or you're changing your clothes. You look down at your arm, your leg, and you notice there's a big bruise, a cut, a scrape, or a scratch. And you're like, oh my God, how'd that happen? Well, here's what happened. During the day, you were focused on something, maybe playing sports, moving furniture, gardening, or simply walking in your home, deeply thinking about something. And as you focused on whatever it was you were doing or you were thinking, you went into a state of hypnosis, focused concentration, right? Normal, naturally occurring hypnosis. Then you bumped your shoulder or your arm into a doorway, or you scraped your shin or your knee against a car bumper or a box in the garage. You didn't even feel it. You wouldn't even have known it happened if you wouldn't have seen it that night when you were changing your clothes or getting ready for bed. This shows that even having hypnoanesthesia and hypnoanalgesia is a normal, natural occurring state. It happens all the time. Another example. I'm going to share it, and it's a doozy. Are you ready? Let me tell you about hallucinations first, okay? There are regular hallucinations where you see or hear something that doesn't exist. Then there are negative hallucinations. It's when you do not hear or do not see something that does exist. This will make sense soon. Hold on. You can experience what's called a negative hallucination. It's one of the deepest levels of hypnosis. naturally occurring hypnosis, by the way. Here's the example. It's one of my favorites. Here we go. My husband, because, he's the only one who does it, is getting ready to run errands on a weekend. He's got the list. He's got the grocery bags. He's thinking of the route he's going to take so that he can avoid the left-hand turns. He's focused. He's on a mission. And now he can't find his keys. He looks at the shelf where they're supposed to be. No keys. He's traipsing all over the house. No keys. No keys. He looks under the papers. No keys. And he calls out to me, "Hey, Lise, where are my keys? I can't find my keys." So, of course, I ask him to go look where they belong. And he says, "No, I was just there." I'm like, "Go look again." So he looks, no keys. He refocuses his attention, looks again, lifts up papers, still no keys. I get up. I walk over to the shelf where they belong. I take my magic finger and I point to the keys on the shelf right where they belong, right where they kept, right where they were the whole time. Magic keys. How in the world did this happen? How in the world can he look right at the keys and not see them? And then go on around the house and not find them there either. He actually was hallucinating negatively. He had a negative hallucination. That is, he looked right at it and he didn't see it because he didn't expect to see them. That's how it happened. There he was. He was relaxed and focused. He looked at the shelf and said, "I can't find my keys." No keys. He continued to go through the house saying in his mind, "No keys. I can't find my keys. I can't find my keys." By the time he actually looked at his keys, his subconscious mind had accepted the fact that there were no keys. Now, for some people, it's their keys. Another person, it might be their purse. For some, it might be a bottle of ketchup, their reading glasses, that kind of thing. Most of us can understand from these examples that we go into hypnosis thousands of times in our life, sometimes repeatedly on the same day. Hypnosis is safe. When you go into hypnosis, you're always going to be conscious. Always. Hypnosis is not mind control. I don't care what Hollywood TV or anybody else says. It's not. You're never going to be unconscious. This isn't like going under anesthesia for surgery or a medical procedure. You're always aware of your surroundings because, as I said before, your mind is set up to protect you even when you're focused. Whatever the hypnotist is having you focus on, that's a function of the conscious mind. Remember? The conscious mind is in the here and the now, always processing, listening, and filtering. Typically, a hypnotist will have you focus on relaxation. It's a really nice thing to focus on. Typically, you'll become more relaxed during the hypnosis session, and because all the levels of the mind, the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the unconscious mind, all have these protective functions that we just went over, you will be safe. Your mind will keep you safe. It's designed that way. No matter how deeply you go into hypnosis, you're always going to be able to protect yourself. Your mind is always on the alert and keeping you safe. If ever a suggestion was given to you that you don't like, that you didn't agree on, or that completely goes against your beliefs and your values, you'll automatically reject it. And if it was something you really, really, really didn't like, you might even emerge yourself from hypnosis right then, without hesitation. Boom, you are out of there because you know what's going on. You know what they said. You know what you believe. You know what you came there for. And if that is not congruent, if that doesn't jive, if that doesn't flow, if that's not in harmony with what you want, it's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. Hypnosis is safe, and it's been accepted by the American Medical Association since 1958. It's been used by medical and other kinds of professionals for a great variety of things, from anesthesia to behavioral change to taking care of psychosomatic illnesses, a number of things that are way too many to list right now. Hypnosis with a hypnotist is a consensual state. It's an agreement. It's a little bit like ballroom dancing. There's a leader, there's a follower. You're both in control of the dance. You have to agree to it. It cannot be forced on you. It's something you do with your hypnotist. You're a team, okay? As a matter of fact, I would say that your hypnotist is really acting as a coach or a guide, because honestly, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. Really, it is. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis because you have to be in agreement with what's going on. If you're not, then it's not happening. Period. End of story. It's just not happening. I assure you. All right, where was I? See, I start talking to you because I really believe this. I feel strongly and I have evidence to back it up. It's good stuff, Maynard. Okay, so your hypnotist, or I know a number of what we call hypnotic inductions. Okay, if you follow the instructions, you're going to be focused, relaxed, and you're going to go into a wonderful state of hypnosis where you'll have the opportunity to make some changes in your life. Some lasting changes quickly. By the way, leave it up to your hypnotist to determine if you are in hypnosis. It doesn't always feel like anything is different in hypnosis. You might feel relaxed, you might not. It might feel different each time. Can I be hypnotized? I can't be hypnotized. No one can hypnotize me. Okay. If you say so. However, if ever you want to be hypnotized, research has shown that anyone of normal intelligence can be hypnotized. If you want to be, okay? You have to want to. Can't be forced on you. It used to be thought that only 20% or so of the population could be hypnotized. But what we've learned is that if we take the time to explain hypnosis to you and answer any questions you may have, then anyone of normal intelligence who wants to use hypnosis for making lasting changes, who's willing to follow instructions, can experience a powerful, effective level of hypnosis and productively work on all the changes that they came in to make. So cool! So let me wrap this up. Soon we will get together. I hope you wrote down any questions you might have. I do my best to cover all the bases, but everyone's different and we each have our own questions. Feel free to ask any and all questions. There are not any silly questions at all. Hypnosis has occasionally, pretty much regularly, had a bad rap on TV and in the movies. I can imagine that for some people, it's still a little intimidating or even scary. I want you to be completely comfortable with the idea of going into hypnosis. Remember, it is your choice. I am your coach, your guide, your leader, your dance partner. No mind control, no clucking like a chicken when we're working together. I assure you, no clucking like a chicken. Okay? Thank you for taking the time to learn a little bit about hypnosis with me today. I will see you soon.